So another week, another day closer to Halloween, and another horror game to check out while trying not to poop my pants. This time, A Quiet Place: The Road Ahead. Now let's be honest, video game adaptations of movies are basically an endangered species. Once upon a time, you couldn't release a big film without some pixelated companion game tagging along, and most of the time, they were forgettable at best. Not you, Aladdin on the SNES, you'll always be my favourite version. But anyway, here comes A Quiet Place: The Road Ahead, and suddenly, we've got a film-to-game adaptation that's actually making people curious again. Because if there's a horror game movie concept screaming, or maybe whispering, to be turned into a game, it's A Quiet Place. A world where even breathing too loudly can get you killed. Yeah, that's got potential. So how does The Road Ahead translate all that quiet tension into a video game? Well, like most things, it's a mixed bag. But let's start with the premise. You play as Alex Taylor, a young woman trying to survive in a post-apocalyptic world that's gone silent. You're not alone though, you've got your boyfriend Martin. But true to the film series, there's no room for chit-chat. The world has been overrun by aliens with super sensitive hearing, and one wrong step or one loud cough could get you killed. Oh yeah, and Alex has asthma. Just in case that whole stay silent or die thing wasn't stressful enough. But what's cool here is that the game doesn't just focus on the external threats. There's also a lot of emotional baggage in play. Alex's relationships with Martin and her family are woven into the story, making this more than just your run-of-the-mill monster survival game. It's about keeping it together mentally as much as it is about staying quiet physically. It's genuinely quite a moving narrative, at least so more than your usual horror game affair. And when it comes to gameplay, The Road Ahead is all about stealth. You'll sneak, hide, and pray that you don't step on anything too crunchy. So at its core, this is classic survival horror setup. You throw objects to distract your enemies, tiptoe around danger, and use the environment to your advantage. One of the cooler tricks is spreading sand across your path to silence your footsteps, which is a nice little nod to one of the key elements of the movie. But the absolute standout feature of the game is the way that it plays with sound, or rather, the fear of making any. However, this is where things get a bit tricky. The game introduces a phonometer, a device that measures how much noise you're making. And at first, this seems like a neat addition, but as the game progresses, it starts to feel more like a babysitter than a useful tool. Instead of relying on your instincts to gauge how loud you're being, the game just constantly tells you. It would have been nice for there to be some sort of system where it trusted you to figure it out on your own. And in a game that's built on tension and atmosphere, that's a bit of a letdown. You want to feel the weight of every step, not have a meter remind you, "Oh you're getting loud." But don't get me wrong, that's not to say the game doesn't deliver on the suspense. When you're creeping through an abandoned barn, the floorboards creaking underfoot, knowing that one wrong move could summon an alien death machine, yeah, the tension's pretty real. I really couldn't help but hold my breath in sync with Alex, hoping that sound doesn't carry too far. And when it does, like when you accidentally knock something over or step on something metal, the panic was enough to make me drop the controller and nope myself out of the room. And while there's part of me that wishes I didn't have such a visceral reaction, it's in these moments where the game really shines. Visually, The Road Ahead nails that eerie, abandoned world vibe, with just the right amount of decay to make you feel like the world has been over for quite a while. Shadows play a big role too, and the lighting is perfectly set to make you second guess every dark corner. Are the graphics groundbreaking? No, but they are effective, and that's what matters in a game like this. You'll feel the weight of every empty room, every broken down house, as you carefully navigate your way through the world. But what really stands out is the sound design. So if you're gonna make a Quiet Place game, then sound has to be everything, and The Road Ahead makes you hyper aware of every noise. The way that different surfaces react, like gravel, metal, and wood, creates this underlying tension that never quite lets up. Walking in on sand is blissfully silent, but step on a piece of glass and pants will be soiled. The sound design is layered and intricate, making the world feel alive, even when it's so very quiet. But I gotta be honest, sometimes the game fumbles what should be its strongest feature. In a world where sound is lethal, some of the sound effects feel overdone. There are moments where the volume of certain actions, like pulling a lever or opening a door, don't seem to match the danger they're supposed to create. I mean, you'd expect the aliens to come barreling through the door the minute you make a loud move, but sometimes they just don't. I did find it a bit jarring, and it does break the immersion a bit, especially when the rest of the game is so focused on precision. The story though is where The Road Ahead gives you something more than your average horror game. Alex's struggle isn't just about aliens, it's about surviving herself, her asthma, her relationships, and the guilt she feels for the things she's lost. It's really not often that survival horror games dig into the emotional psyche of the protagonist, but here, it works. Harassment plays into the gameplay too. Run too much or panic too hard, and you'll need to stop and use an inhaler, adding yet another layer of tension and stress. The narrative isn't just about jump scares and stealth, it's about living through the worst parts of yourself, while also dodging monsters. But even here, not every emotional thread hits as hard as it could. There are moments where the game sets up what should be a gut punch of a scene, only for it to feel a bit muted. There's emotional potential here that isn't fully explored. Sometimes it just leaves you hanging a bit. It's still richer than most survival horror games, but it's definitely not an all-timer like The Last of Us or God of War. So what's the final verdict? A Quiet Place: The Road Ahead is a solid horror game, with moments of genuine tension, some emotional depth, and a world that feels properly eerie. It does a lot of things right. The stealth mechanics are well designed, the sound is mostly on point, and the atmosphere will definitely keep you on edge. But it also plays things a little bit too safe for me. The phonometer, while interesting, feels like a missed opportunity, and some of the more dramatic moments don't quite land the way they should. But at its lower price point, it's worth picking up, especially if you're a fan of the films. It's in no way a game changer for the genre, but it's a solid, atmospheric experience that will keep you quietly on edge. Edge. But what did you think of A Quiet Place: The Road Ahead? Please let me know in the comments below, I would love to read your thoughts. And while you're down there, don't forget to like and subscribe for plenty more on all things gaming, check out our movie channel UDS Films, or you can always visit upsidedownshark.com to keep up with everything else we've got going on. Until then, my name is Tom, this has been UDS, and we'll see you next time. Bye!